I 28 at odds at what to do about new information I found out about my girlfriend 27F. To start off, my girlfriend and I have been together for around a year and a half. This is the healthiest and best relationship I have ever been in. No fights, no drama, no problems. We get along great, have similar interest, and click very well together in all aspects. I honestly thought this was going to be the woman I was going to spend the rest of my life with. But this is where the issues start. Over this weekend, some former college friends were in town. Due to this, I asked all of them if we all wanted to get together and have a barbecue at my place since we all haven't seen each other in a long time. We did, and it was a lot of fun. They all brought their partners and we all just caught up. After that night, a friend texted me that they had a good time. She then proceeded to ask what my girlfriend did for a living. I thought a pretty odd question, but was like, she is a bookkeeper. She has 1 semester of school left before having her accounting degree. She then replied, "Is that what she is telling you?" I asked her what she meant by this. She responded by sending me a link to a certain hub site and a fan's website. One site had maybe a handful of 2-minute-long solo videos and the other I couldn't access due to a paywall. But based on the very little I saw, I can say 100%, it was her. It looked like her, sounded like her, and she has an identifiable freckle on certain area of her body, and it was there. My girlfriend and I went to bed, as I wasn't starting this argument that late in the evening. Next morning, we made breakfast, and after we ate I asked her if we could talk. She said, "Sure, what do you want to talk about?" I said, "Are you lying to me about your job?" Before I can say any more, she busted out in tears and crying. She said that she was sorry about lying to me, but she didn't know how to tell me. I asked her as what I was seeing was true and explained what I knew. She said that it was true. I asked why? She said that it was the only way for her to make ends meet and be able to go to school and not be in a ton of debt. I asked if she did it with other people. She said no, that she only did solo content. She said if you don't believe me she will show me. I then asked, if she had been shooting while we were together? She said yes. I then asked why she didn't take a loan for school and work a different job? She said that those loans are scams and if you take one you are crazy. You will never pay it off. She then said she tried working 3 jobs, but because of the work her grades suffered. Due to that, she had to drop out and worked on job to make ends meet. One of her friends was doing this and was able to pay off school easily. That is why my girlfriend started doing it. My girlfriend started this 2.5 years ago and was able to catch up on her bills, save money, and start up school again. I asked if she was going to continue doing it? She said no. She hated doing it, but it paid really well and she was able to make enough money to pay her rent, bills, school, and save. She said after she got her first job after school she was going to quit doing it and delete everything. She asked if I could forgive her and we could continue to date and work on things. She said that she knows she messed up and that only reason she lied and hid it was she knew what kind of guy the first was. I asked her what she meant. She said, "I know you are the kind of guy who wouldn't date someone who did those things." I said, "How did you come to that conclusion?" She said, "You are a sweet, kind man with standards and boundaries." She said, "I was going to tell you 'cause I wanted to be honest. However, once I got to know you I was scared you would never want to see me or date me if you found out." She then asked again, if we could work on it. I told her I need some time to think about it. She said, she understood and left. So, now I can't really ask anyone in my life their opinion because I am embarrassed. Not just me, but for her. I don't know how to proceed or even think. She does something that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand why she does it. Like I understood why she does it, but it still upsets me. She is the best girlfriend I have ever had and she makes me happy. She is good to me and I never had to question anything about her. However, I do consider this cheating and don't know if I can forgive her. I am just at a really difficult crossroads at the moment. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Don't feed the trolls. This is definitely not a real post. This is so not real. The lie is the issue for me. I couldn't trust her. I get fucked by my job way more than she does. At least this fake post didn't start with, "Excuse my grammar but English isn't my first language." My husband, 31M, won't talk to me, 30M. First time post, so sorry for any mistakes. I, 30F, and husband, 31M, got married in March after being in a LD relationship for 4 years. Every time we get into an argument or fight, he would completely ignore me and not talk to me for days. and say he is reconsidering the relationship. Now we are married and I moved into his home. We got into a fight about finances and I'm really not sure if I'm in the wrong. To give context, I have my own house in my hometown which I'm renting out and it's paying for itself. While I lived by myself, I could afford to send $1,000 to support my parents every month after all expenses and save $1,000. My husband owns a house and a car and that eats up most of his income. After moving in, we equally share the mortgage and maintenance of his house, car. Prenup states I don't get a part of it if we separate. And we are netting negative every month without unnecessary spending or support money to parents. I've been feeling pretty down about it because it heavily restricts us financially. This month we netted about $300 positive and I spent $100 on silver jewelry that I've been wanting for months, out of my personal savings account. I have good amount of savings, about $100K, so I wasn't worried about that. It's the one thing I did for myself in past 6 months. He was angry about that and showed his disappointment. I told him I didn't spend anything for myself in so long and I wanted to do this one thing for myself. If we don't like what we buy, I can return it. He said I shouldn't be spending on wants while our needs itself take up most of the earnings. I agreed with him, but he is starting pilot training next month, $20K expense, as it's his dream, unrelated to his career, and I pointed out that's also a want, not a need. It's not fair for him to make me feel like I couldn't do anything for myself. He got mad, shouted at me, went and locked the room. He hasn't spoken to me in 2 days. I wasn't rude and I told him I'm not trying to diminish his dreams, but it's a want and not a need. Was I wrong? TLDR. Husband won't talk to me after I told him his pilot training expense of $20K is a want and not a need when he shouted at me for spending $100 on silver jewelry. Edit. The $20K spending is coming from his savings and we did discuss it beforehand. I was okay with him exploring the option now rather than when we have kids and more needs. After speaking with him yesterday, he says it's not about the $100, but it's my attitude when I compared a stupid $100 purchase to his dream. It escalated yesterday and it ended up in a shouting match. I hate that I'm triggered by this. I am thinking of going back to my home country, where I will have a stable job and an emotional support system with family and friends. I have none here. And think about what I really want and get out of this relationship. Thank you everyone for your kind words and suggestions. I feel validated, thank you. Why did you marry this man, child? The silent treatment is emotional abuse. Period. And you married him? You married a guy who from the start pulls out the "I am reconsidering the relationship" bull every time there is an argument? Sigh. And you are surprised he is, gasp, doing again what he has always done. If he has never been able to face disagreements with maturity, logic and self-restraint, what made you think marriage was the right move? What about him said, husband material? Also, if everything is separate, as you seem to suggest in your description, what exactly then is shared? My parents had a saying I wish I had taken more seriously. What you don't share in a relationship is eventually what breaks you apart. In your case there seems to be a lot of his and mine, but few ours. I urge you to contemplate that. OMG, please leave. Marry in haste, repent at leisure. My 48M ex-wife, 47F, has reached out to me after years. We were married for 7 years and divorced about 15 years ago. The reason at the time was our vision for the future wasn't compatible. I wanted a family, white picket fence, etc. She wanted to remain free and travel until her last day. FYI, at the time we were married she shared my side of the vision. There is a cliché about remaining friends, but honestly I think we did at the beginning. She met someone and married him in 2010. He was older and had money and gave her that lifestyle. We were close enough that I was invited to the wedding and made a brief toast. Obviously with him in her life we drifted apart and basically played Facebook tag. When we divorced I was depressed and got therapy, but after she was married and gallivanting around Europe and the Caribbean I got really depressed. Therapy only helps so much. It took about 5 years to really pull through and be myself. I tried dating again and it never worked out. I honestly felt that I could never have been happier with anyone than I was with her. I regretted putting my foot down about how I wanted to live. Meanwhile, she was Facebook documenting their attempts to get pregnant. The one thing she was dead set against at all costs, to the point that she wanted to get her tubes tied, just in case. Fertilization clinics, IVF, etc., but nothing took. They announced they had gotten a surrogate to carry their child, and tragically the child was stillborn. Her husband passed away privately in 2021. People only found out a month after his very private burial. I messaged her saying I would be there for her if she needed someone to talk to. I did not hear back. Aside from posting inspirational messages, etc., she went dark. On my birthday this year I received a card from her wishing me a happy birthday, thanking me for being such an important part of her life, and saying maybe we'll be in touch soon. This last Friday she called me. It was the first time I spoke to her directly in over a decade. It was light conversation. I didn't bring up much of the last 10 years. But she asked if I was free to get coffee or a drink today, Tuesday. She was going to be back near where I live on Thursday. I agreed. Since then we've texted a bit back and forth, being slightly more intimate. I get the sense she's testing the waters, so to speak, to see if there is interest there. From my end it is a double-edged sword. There really would be interest in seeing where it might go, but I don't think I could handle losing her a second time. I've asked a few friends and they've been split down the middle. Don't get involved again versus see what happens. What do you think? Has anyone ever been in this situation where a relationship was rekindled after so long, and what did you do? What red flags or things to worry about should I be looking for? Maybe just go have coffee and a chat. Why does it have to go directly to thinking about the future? Check it out. See if there's anything there. If not, enjoy your coffee. Just an aside, but I wouldn't delve too deeply into the child thing. She was more than likely only agreeing to keep her lifestyle. Them using a surrogate seems to still fall in line with how she felt with you. I wouldn't say don't go for it, but definitely keep your ears to the ground, so to speak. Make sure the words match the actions. Don't move too quickly, and if the problems from the past haven't changed, then they'll just be the problems of the present all over again. Definitely give it a shot. I've been in a similar situation and would give anything for another chance. You have nothing to lose. People change and grow. Give her a second chance. Always protect your heart, man. You two are completely different people now, and you should treat it as such. Don't see it as a part 2 to your previous marriage. See it as getting to know someone new. A fresh start, be it friends or romantic partners. Be open to either, but don't be desperately hopeful for a specific outcome. Get to know each other again slowly and, if the time comes, have an open and frank discussion about what both of your intentions are. Leave nothing vague. Life only goes forward. When you try and rewind, it usually doesn't end well. My 22F husband's 25M ex 24F reached out to me about my husband. Hi all, new to this, so bear with me. Background: I 22F have been with my now husband 25M for almost a year and just recently married in June. It was sort of a whirlwind romance. We began dating September last year and were engaged on New Year's Eve. Most of my friends didn't even know we were dating until the engagement photos. But they say when you know, you know. I felt like I had known him my whole life, and we were immediately best friends and smitten with each other. He still surprises me with gifts, dinners, and sweet texts. My husband and his ex were high school sweethearts who broke up about a year before we met. He said after almost an entire decade together, when he was ready to be a married man and proposed, she rejected him, moved out, and broke his heart. After they broke up, he says she suddenly told their friends he was abusive with her and that his family let it happen. He and his family have always been very kind to me, like the family I always wished I had. A few days ago I got a direct message on Instagram from his ex. Hi, Op. I've been debating for a while on whether or not to send this message. I'm not sure if you know who I am, but I'm husband's ex. I don't know your relationship and I won't claim to, but I felt obligated to share my experience with you. I won't go into more detail unless you ask, but he was very aggressive with me on several occasions and manipulated me in many ways that I'm still entangling. I felt incredibly unsafe and scared in many moments in our time together. I know I'm overstepping and you can block me, but I just want you to know that if you've had a similar experience and are scared to get out, I'm here in hometown, and will help you. I know I needed that and I didn't have it. I know you have no reason to believe me, but I'm in your corner if you have the misfortune of sharing my experience. I lost everything by leaving, but it was so worth it to choose myself. I hope no matter what, you do the same. I haven't shown my husband, and he and his family do say she's a liar and would exaggerated things. He has mental health issues and will hit himself in the head and yell at me if we get into bad fights, and I know he has some flare-ups that make him act pretty unstable sometimes, but he's never been aggressive or abusive towards me. I know his family has dealt with some bipolar outbursts, but if she's talking about that, then I don't think that's abuse. He's talked about he regrets doing things in the past, so I think he's changed even if it was super bad. What should I do? TLDR. Husband's ex claims he's abusive, but he's never treated me badly. He has mental health issues and will hit himself in the head and yell at me if we get into bad fights. It sounds to me like he's already doing some of the things his ex warned you about. Info. Why did you get married so quickly? Why didn't you tell your friends you were dating your husband? The ex has done you a kindness here. Keep her words in mind. This is bad foreshadowing. Just by your little descriptions, I'd say his ex is right and you need to leave. I was in an abusive relationship and they don't just start beating you once they get you, it starts of bit by bit. Name calling, belittling, screaming at you, hitting themselves. It will go up a stage and still with the screaming, belittling, name calling, only this time they will shove you. And then it goes up a notch again. And again and again. Until they're punching you like you're a full-grown man in a bar fight. Listen to this woman. He already showing signs of being an aggressive moron.